Call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Latta, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
Noting the absence of a quorum, sergeants, please call the absent members. Absent members, please report to the floor. Thank you. Secretary will call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Latta, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
A quorum is present. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our guest chaplain, Rabbi Ruvain Taff, Mosaic Law Congregation, Sacramento. After which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Vidak.
Good morning. After his epic saga, Roots, was published in 1976, the great author Alex Haley said that in his office he had a picture of a turtle sitting on a fence post. And when he looked at it, he remembered a lesson taught to him by a good friend of his by the name of John Gaines. And John Gaines said to Alex Haley, and I quote, "If you see a turtle on top of a fence post, you know he had some help." And Haley remarked afterwards, "Anytime I start thinking, wow, isn't this marvelous what I've done, I look at that picture and remember how this turtle, me, got up on that fence post." This humorous story reminds me of what writer Helen Nielsen once wrote, and she said, "Humility is like underwear, essential but indecent if it shows." My prayer as you begin this day to continue the important work on behalf of every citizen of this great state is that all of you will remember the story of the turtle on the fence post and the words of the prophet Micah, whose message is a simple one, but an important one. Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. May it be possible for everyone in this chamber, in spite of deeply held differences, to walk humbly together in mutual respect and kindness for each other, to achieve and accomplish the lofty goals for which you were elected, working to make California stronger by bringing people together, showing us our commonality, instructing us in cooperation, making us not a collection of competing special interests, but rather working to create a community where each and every citizen has the experience of being connected to those around them and knows that their well-being and success are dependent on the success of all others. And let us all say, amen. Thank you. United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is the national anthem now? No. Okay. Thank you for the honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Privileges of the floor. Do we have any members who would like to present under privileges of the floor? Senator De Leon.
Madam President, colleagues, good morning to each and every one of you. I am very pleased to introduce the Honorable Lidovina Majarin, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Republic of El Salvador. The Vice Minister feels probably very comfortable being in this chamber because as prior to joining the Foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs, she was a legal advisor for health and environmental issues of the Salvadoran Parliament. The Vice Minister has broad experience in public management and administrative law within the foreign affairs arena, as well as legal analysis and public governance, women's rights, risk management, inclusive strategic planning, and national and municipal budgets. She is visiting the capital today for discussions on a number of topics which are of common interest to California as well as El Salvador, including education, trade and investment, public safety, and immigrant issues. Now, more than 500,000 Salvadorans call California their home. And many of them actually live in my district in Los Angeles, the Pico Union West Lake District. Also, many live in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. And I am personally honored to have an opportunity to represent these very hard-working families. There is also, again, a very large population, I would say, in Senator Mark Leno's district, in the Mission District. It's a very vibrant Salvadoran community. And we also extend our great condolences to the victims, many of them who were Salvadoran, who lost their lives in the fire just recently in the Mission District. Now, since the signing last year of a $277 million Millennium Challenge Compact, the governments of the United States of America and El Salvador are working together more closely than ever to invest in mutually beneficial infrastructure, education, regulatory reform projects, also the scourge that impacts all of us, but especially in the Western Hemisphere, the issue of drug trafficking throughout our own Western Hemisphere. We welcome the Vice Minister's efforts to strengthen the relationship between El Salvador and California and wish her team a very productive visit. Now, with the Vice Minister, today is Mr. Daniel Ortiz, the Coordinator of Investments and Small Business from the Direction of Migration and Development in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Honorable Ana Valenzuela, the General Counsel of El Salvador in the city of San Francisco. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce the Vice Minister Macarin. She's a woman, undoubtedly, who has been underestimated all her life. She's a very humble woman, but she's a woman who's risen through the ranks in the rough and tumble politics of El Salvador, the Civil War, to become the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, but especially for Salvadorans outside of El Salvador. Colleagues, please stand and give a rounding a welcome to the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of El Salvador, the Honorable Lidovina Macarin.
Welcome. Continuing with privileges of the floor, members, are there any other members who would like to speak? Okay, in just a moment, Senator Mitchell. Senator Mitchell at Senator De Leon's desk.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I appreciate it. Colleagues, I'm honored today to introduce one of the hardest working men in Culver City, Mr. Tim Robbins. As many of you know, Mr. Robbins is a multifaceted actor, writer, director, and producer whose many films include some pretty big ones: Dead Man Walking, Shawshank Redemption, and Mystic River, for which he won the Academy Award. Mr. Robbins has been a consistent and influential voice in the theater for the past 33 years as an actor, director, playwright, and artistic director of the Actors Gang, a theater group that offers a supportive environment for a diverse ensemble of artists and whose mission is to create bold, original works for the stage and daring reinterpretations of the classics. The Actors Gang studio is located in Culver City. I'm very proud of the work that they do there every day. The Actors Gang Education and Outreach Program provides free after-school, in-school, and summer programs for kids throughout LA County. They work in collaboration with youth to create ensemble theater. Mr. Robbins and several other Actors Gang members, Sabra Williams, who's joined him today, regularly conduct theater workshops with incarcerated men and women in an effort to unlock their human potential and to fill the gap in arts rehabilitation programs in our own California prison system. The Prison Project, and you all have brochures of the Prison Project with amazing quotes from men and women who participated in the program, who are residents, shall we say, of CDCR, talk about what this experience means to them. It has a profound impact on inmates, their families, and prison staff. Participants develop social skills, self-esteem, tools for life beyond incarceration. It should be noted, and this is key, that since the program's inception 8 years ago, the Prison Project maintains a 0% recidivism rate, while we all know the high recidivism rate elsewhere. Thank you very much for allowing me to introduce you all to Mr. Robbins, Sabra Williams, Melissa Shriver, who's joined him today, to talk to you and a little bit and to introduce to some of you the work of the Prison Project. Madam President, we've received permission, it was approved through Rules Committee yesterday, to allow Mr. Robbins to share a few words on the floor.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Mitchell. I'm really honored to be here. I'm a child of California. I was born in 1958 in West Covina, California, and educated at the world-class institution in the University of California, Los Angeles. Go Bruins. But to be fair, I sent my son to school at USC. So anyway. So for the past 33 years, I've been running a nonprofit organization called the Actors Gang in Los Angeles. And we've been doing theater in Los Angeles and throughout the world since 1981. Been touring internationally since 1989, performing in over 40 states and in 5 continents. In addition to our arts programming, the Actors Gang is very proud of its achievements in arts education. We are currently providing both in-school immersion and after-school programs in 12 LAUSD schools and Culver City elementary, middle, and high schools. In addition to our work in the public school system, the Actors Gang also runs arts programs at the California Institute for Men at Chino in California, the California Institute for Women at Corona, and California Rehabilitation Center at Norco. And in March, we started a program in the California State Prison at Lancaster. Actors Gang Prison Project started 8 years ago as an all-volunteer enterprise, spearheaded by one of our actors. Some of you have met her, Sabra Williams. She's with us here today. Thanks for coming, Sabra. With hard work and dedicated artists committed to change, the Prison Project has grown in scope and effectiveness and is now recognized by the Department of Corrections as the only comprehensive arts program organization in the state and an effective rehabilitation program. Last year, we received significant funding from the state of California to continue and expand our outreach. I'd like to acknowledge the support of the Secretary of California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Jeffrey Beard, the Director of Programs, Millicent Tidwell, and Deputy Director of Rehabilitative Programs, Roger Mayer, as well as California Arts Council for their support and advocacy of the Actors Gang Prison Project. Secretary Beard, Millicent, and Roger have all attended multiple presentations to observe the work we do, and it is their stamp of approval that has made it possible for us to expand our work at the Actors Gang throughout the state. And we are committed to providing the Prison Project in all 33 California prisons, and with the help and support of you representatives, we can make that happen. I hope we all agree that vital rehabilitative programs are essential to the well-being and safety of the public at large. Most inmates are getting out, and they are moving into our neighborhoods. So we want them leaving prison with effective coping skills and better ways of dealing with their emotions than when they came into prison. And that's what the Actors Gang Prison Project is all about. I can stand here and testify that I have personally witnessed the profound transformations of hundreds of inmates over the past 8 years due to the work with the project. I have seen hardened, bitter men transformed into open, sentient beings. I have seen racial barriers fall. I've seen lasting bonds form between former enemies. I've seen closed-off, angry men and women turn their life around, taking responsibility for their actions for the first time in their lives. I've witnessed cynics with bitterness turning into leaders with empathy. I know it works. Senator Mitchell mentioned our recidivism rate. It's very good. We don't have empirical evidence on that, but anecdotally, this is what we know. Okay. I would just like to thank you. I will wrap it up. It's very kind of you. Okay. I can't get another take?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. But I just want to finish off by saying arts and correction shouldn't be considered a luxury or an indulgence. It should be considered an essential tool in rehabilitation that significantly reduces recidivism. We've seen recent studies that have said this, that it has a positive impact on the prison population. If you look in those booklets, you'll see testimony from wardens and the Secretary of Corrections, Jeffrey Beard, and the United States Attorney General, Eric Holder, who have all witnessed our program. So I respectfully request that you reinstate a permanent line item for arts in corrections in the California state budget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Members, we will return back to the agenda, and those of you who'd like to visit, please gather at the back. Messages from the governor will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted. Motions, resolutions, and notices. Without objection, the Senate journals for February 17th through February 19th, 2015 will be approved as corrected by the minute clerk. Are there any other motions or resolutions, members? Senator Morell. Members, if we can have it quiet now, we will proceed. And those of you who would like to visit with our guest, please gather at the back.
Thank you. Good luck.
For what purpose do you rise?
A resolution in memory of
Great. Well, wait just a minute, then I'll get it quiet for you there. Please stand by for just a moment.
Take your time.
Okay, members, if you will return to your desk, except for those who would like to gather at the very back of the chambers. Thank you. Senator Morell has the floor. Please proceed.
Thanks again. And members, thank you. Today I rise to adjourn in the memory of Professor Harry Jaffa, who was a professor at Claremont McKenna College and a distinguished fellow at the Claremont Institute. He passed away at Pomona Valley Hospital January 10th, just a few weeks ago. Professor Jaffa left behind an extraordinary body of scholarship and political philosophy that brought to light a full understanding of Lincoln's statesmanship and the central role of the Declaration of Independence in interpreting our U.S. Constitution. He also earned his doctorate in 1951 from the New School for Social Research in New York, where he studied under Leo Strauss, who was a refugee from the Nazi Germany, who articulated an approach to political philosophy that attempted to understand the ancients and moderns as they understand themselves, and that respected the claims of both Athens and Jerusalem, or as they say, faith and reason. Strauss taught that nihilism threatened to debase and destroy all that had been good, noble, and true in our Western tradition. While teaching at Ohio State, Jaffa wrote a book entitled Crisis of the House Divided, which was an interpretation of the Lincoln-Douglas debates. He wrote that these debates laid the groundwork for Lincoln's election as president, which was a critical election which exposed the monstrous evil of slavery for what it was and made possible slavery's final collapse. In Crisis, Jaffa revealed that Illinois Senator Douglas' doctrine of popular sovereignty meant no more than this, that in a democracy, justice is the interest of the majority, he wrote. Lincoln, however, insisted that the case for popular government depended upon a standard of right and wrong, independent of men's mere opinions. Jaffa was ardent conviction, which he drew from Lincoln, that the Declaration of Independence was the key to understanding the true character and greatness of American political thought and our institutions. His devotion to the pursuit of truth was legendary. In fact, William F. Buckley said this about him: "If you think Harry Jaffa is hard to argue with, try agreeing with him. It is nearly impossible." Jaffa leaves behind him not only scores of students who read and study the fine print and discourses of political philosophy, but also a United States worthy of its founding principles. And one thing I'd just like to say, Harry Jaffa has impacted just many lives, and even the lives of myself and my family. You know, he has a whole group of young men 40, 50 years ago who he taught, who are now college presidents, presidents of constitutional think tanks, who taught others, who are now professors or head of political philosophy departments. And even my three kids would be considered sort of 3 or 4 generations down from there, who are all involved. One's in a constitutional think tank, another practices constitutional law, even though he became an attorney, which was not the worst thing, I guess. But anyway, and then our daughter teaches political philosophy at a university, which is nice. And so even my family's been impacted by Harry Jaffa. He's also survived by his children, Philip of Arlington, Virginia, Donald of 29 Palms, and his daughter, Kara, from Georgia. And right now, they have 3 grandchildren, and he was married to his wife, Marjorie, who died in 2010, and they had been married for 68 years. So members, I ask that we adjourn today in the memory of Professor Harry Jaffa. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, we are going to, unless you have an announcement, we're going to go to first reading and then come back to adjourn in memories at the end because we have a little bit of business to do. And so if there's any announcements or motions, resolutions, or notices, we'll take those up now. Seeing none. Introductions and first reading of the bills. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 266 and Senate Bill 267.
Thank you. Senator De Leon, would you like to take up the governor's appointments? Item 5.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, we have before us a governor's appointment that is Ms. Rowena T. Libang Bobila. This was an appointment that was heard in committee February 11th. She passed on a 4-0 vote. Ms. Bobila is a member of the California State Lottery Commission. She also is an attorney in private practice, and she feels passionately about public education and the need to provide increased funding for education. Her emphasis is increasing revenues, obviously, for the sale of lottery tickets to meet the targeted goals that the Commission has met. She brings a fresh perspective to the Commission. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there further debate or discussion, members? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Cannella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller.
Aye.
Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Bell. I. Galgiani. I. Hertzberg. I. Liu. Wynn.
Ayes 35, noes 0. The appointment is confirmed. Senate third reading, item 9. Senator Block, would you like to present on this item?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. This is a Senate Concurrent Resolution 17.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. You are too fast for me today. The secretary needs to read. And please come right back.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 16 by Senator Block relative to Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week.
Yeah, we're passing on file on number 9 and presenting on number 10, which is SCR 17.
Okay. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 17 by Senator Block relative to Navy Reserve Day.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. It gives me great pleasure to present Senate Concurrent Resolution 17 this morning, which honors the 100th anniversary of the United States Navy Reserve. For a century, brave men and women have served their country as citizen sailors. These reservists have time and time again answered their country's call and served with distinction in every military action, major military action, from World War I to operations enduring freedom and Iraqi freedom. It is very appropriate that we honor this 100th anniversary on the Senate floor, as the history of the Navy Reserve is intrinsically tied to the state of California. When the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps was established in 1926, the University of California was selected to house one of the first NROTC units. In World War II, 10 out of every 11 sailors on active duty were members of the Navy Reserve. Nearly 3 million men and women. These sailors trained in San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, and returned to call these places home after years of fierce combat in the Pacific and the Atlantic. The 21st century has seen Navy Reserve sailors step up in ways that would have been unthinkable a century ago. Sailors have provided expeditionary maritime security around the world, ready to go underway on short notice. These reserve sailors have served with the Army and Air Force units in Iraq and Afghanistan, serving on the ground alongside infantry, armor, and military police units. For a century, the men and women of the Navy Reserve have served with distinction alongside their shipmates. It's an honor to commend their service and their sacrifice on the floor today, and to recognize the U.S. Navy Reserve on their 100th anniversary. I ask for your aye vote for SCR 17.
Debate or discussion, members? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting the unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 35, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. Moving back to returning to motions and resolutions, adjourned in memories at this time, Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam President, members. I rise in memory this morning of longtime Chino resident Anna Aguirre, known as Annie by her friends and family, who passed away earlier this month at the age of 88. Annie called Chino home for over 60 years, and more importantly, members, she made an important contribution to our state legislature. Annie's son, Fred Aguirre, served 6 years with distinction in the State Assembly, serving, among other things, as chair of the Assembly Rules Committee and Speaker Pro Tem. He was later appointed a cabinet secretary under former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even today, the tradition of service to the community continues. Fred Aguirre's daughter and Annie's granddaughter, Amy Rose Aguirre Mills, serves in my office, my district office. It's clear that both Fred and Amy received their passion for serving others from Annie Aguirre. Raised with 8 sisters and 2 brothers, she learned at an early age to milk cows and maintain a dairy. In 1955, she moved from Artesia to Chino, where she managed a number of dairies, one of Chino's first dairy women. In 1985, after she had retired, she was recognized for her work in starting a tough love group for Chino's at-risk juvenile community. Members, I ask we adjourn today in the memory of Annie Aguirre.
Thank you. Senator Hancock?
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today to adjourn in memory of Mildred Parrish Massey, who died surrounded by her friends and family at age 90 in Oakland on February 16th, this Monday. I knew her best as the mother of our Congresswoman, Barbara Lee, in my area, but she is also quite a pioneer in her own right. Mildred Massey was born in Texas. She attended elementary and high schools in El Paso, where she was the manager of the Douglas High School basketball team, played the saxophone in the band, and marched in the Sun Bowl parade. She won a scholarship to Tillotson College in Austin, Texas, and later attended Southern University at Baton Rouge. Now, when pledging a sorority at Southern University, she found that a friend of hers was not asked to join because of her darker skin color. Mildred immediately withdrew her application from the sorority and asked Mary McLeod Bethune to come to campus and help change this discriminatory policy, which did happen and did work. Mildred later was one of 12 African American students to integrate the University of Texas at El Paso. So in 1960, she moved to California and again and again and again broke racial barriers, being the first African American to work in various companies and various offices of the United States government. In 1975, she moved to Oakland and worked for the Social Security Administration until she retired in 1986. Mildred Massey was known to many in the community as a woman who loved life, supported her daughter in her ventures in life with true wit and wisdom. She was a straight talker and a wise woman. She enjoyed traveling abroad, was an avid fan of the Golden State Warriors and the Oakland Symphony. Known for her beautiful green eyes, her radiant smile, her quick wit, and great sense of humor, she will be missed very much by her family of 3 daughters, 16 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild.
Thank you.
We adjourn in her memory.
Senator Mitchell?
Thank you very much, Madam President. Today I rise with true sadness to adjourn in memory of Rise K. Phillips. Rise transitioned on Tuesday, February 10th, unexpectedly at her home. Rise was the president and the CEO of THE Clinic. THE stands for To Help Everyone. It's a health and wellness center with multiple sites throughout South Los Angeles. THE was founded over 4 decades ago by Sylvia Drew Ivy, the granddaughter of Charles Drew. For many years, THE Clinic was one of the only freestanding clinics offering comprehensive women's health care and family care to a community that historically has been disenfranchised and has had limited access to health care services. Rise joined THE in 2009 after holding many executive management positions in both public and private healthcare sectors. Her coming to THE was a true transition in THE's development as a nonprofit organization. She had expanded to over 9 additional clinics in that short period of time. She was very active. Many of you may have met her in the State Community Clinic Association as well as LA County's Community Clinic Association, and was really a thought leader in terms of the role community clinics are now playing in the changing landscape of the healthcare delivery system. Supervisor Ridley Thomas, Assemblymember Sebastian Ridley Thomas, and myself joined Rise the Friday before her death for the grand opening of a brand new clinic right in the heart of my district in the La Brea Center. Again, an area that suffers from a lack of access to quality health care services. So her executive management experience, her core belief that everyone should have access in their own community to high-quality, affordable health care was significant to many in South LA, and her unexpected passing has truly been, has had significant impact on the community as a whole. And so I ask that you all join me in adjourning in memory of Rise K. Phillips.
Thank you. Is there any other adjourned memories or motions and resolutions at this time? Seeing and hearing none. Senator De Leon, the desk is clear.
Thank you, Madam President. I wish everyone very safe, very productive next few days and weekend. For those who are going to celebrate in your various cities up and down the state of California, the new Lunar Year, Gung Hai Fat Choi, where I represent Chinatown, and I'll be participating in the Chinatown Parade event this come Saturday. So for those who will not, well, I'm sure you'll have a productive weekend nonetheless, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. We will reconvene on the floor at 2 o'clock.
Thank you. We have one announcement. Immediately after session, there will be training in room 3191, and the Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Monday at 2.